Hi everyone. Today, we've taken the stories from the Petiravenge channel, enjoy my friends. And so, let's begin. Don't take food that doesn't belong to you. When I worked at a smallish private college in the financial aid office, food theft was a major issue. Once, I set up a really nice strawberry shortcake spread for one of the gals' birthdays, along with a note that said, "Subscribe to my channel, or I'll eat you tonight." It's a joke, my friends, it said so. For S birthday, please don't touch, we will share after we celebrate. In the 10 minutes it took her to finish with our student and to gather the rest of the department in the break room, some asshole had hacked into it and tossed my note in the trash. Another time, during a super busy registration season, we ordered out for Chinese food. I put my leftover noodles and rice in the fridge, labeled with my name. The next day, the only thing left was the plain rice. Some jerk had taken the leftovers that I had eaten out of, no less. Since it was such a busy time and that was my planned lunch, that meant no lunch for me, wonderful. I was pissed and decided to get even. Picked up an order of the same noodles, ate half. Spit in it, mixed in hair and dirt with tiny bits of gravel. Put in fridge with label that said, "Not yours, do not eat." I hope the jerk got valley fever and broke a tooth. I was very happy to see it gone the following evening. I had a lunch stealer, so I added a ton of black dye to my soup. It was just a matter of going around and talking to everyone after lunch to see who had weird teeth. Yeah, Robert, I'm taking about you. The place I worked at had a scandal like this, and blue dye was used in the underside of the door handle to someone's personal fridge under his desk, where he kept his insulin, which the thief also stole. We caught the guy within a day, and he was so arrogant, he claimed it was inadmissible evidence because his right to privacy of what he ate. The court case he threatened us with went nowhere. Special kind of prick steals insulin. Maybe they are going to sell it on the black market. Out of pocket in the USA is about $450 a vial. When I worked construction, occasionally we'd deal with a rash of lunch thefts. Someone would eventually leave a tampered single-serve bottle of lemonade in the fridge, and oddly the problem sorted itself out. I also worked construction and had my lunch eaten, which sucks working 10-hour days, so I added a piece of shingle to my sandwich. This made me lol, big time. I'm industry too and I've got two notables. First was on purpose, someone kept drinking people's open Coke from bottles, so it got topped up with brake fluid, bit of a kerfuffle over that lol. But the second was accidental. At the end of the week a fella went to clean out the 10-liter urn that was always bubbling ready for coffees etc. When he looked in it there was a thoroughly boiled and disintegrating frog. I wasn't there at the time, but a dozen big beardy fella bursting out the room retching must have been a hell of a sight. My lunch always has a big sticker on the lid, warning contains Carolina Reapers, and everyone knew because there was this bitch in my Spanish class that stole it off my desk without reading it and wolfed the entire thing down in a few seconds. Suffice to say, she had a bad day and a worse night because she had to call off her date. Oh wow, let the punishment fit the crime. So we had an issue with this where I work at Stupidco. Someone who wasn't me loaded down a half quart of homemade chili with enough red food coloring to color 2 gallons of icing dark red. The offender looked like an 7-year-old who just downed 3 red slushes. He also had a dribble of blood red down his chin that wouldn't wash out. HR got involved at this point and there was poisoning accusations etc. Turns out that food coloring doesn't count as poison and the food thief got terminated and the chili cook didn't even get a slap on the wrist. HR made a statement that using extremely strong food dye in food for pranks was unprofessional. Then went on to state that a culprit was identified in who is believed to have been stealing and tampering with lunches and the behavior would result in termination because if we can't trust you not to steal a hungry man from the freezer, we just can't trust you to work here. Extremely spicy food or straight up food poisoning is ill advised. Comical amounts of food coloring. That's karmic justice. Please tell the cook who definitely isn't you what a great job they did. No, seriously, it wasn't me. They didn't get in any trouble in the least. Do not copy this, it could be very bad. Back in uni food was being stolen regularly. One girl had enough, she had little enough money to start with and some was depriving her of the little she had. She bought some cook from frozen veggie pasties, think Hot Pockets, and left them on the window for a week till they started to smell, then refroze them. They got stolen. The theft stopped. The grapevine told us that someone a few floors away had to spend a week in the infirmary with serious food poisoning. It could have been worse and no one ever accused a sick person of stealing food. Stopped food thefts by posting a sign on the refrigerator stating that this was being done with random lunches. The theft stopped. Someone kept stealing my food at work. Had everything labeled with my name. All over. I wrote my name about 30 times. I'm hypoglycemic. I brought brownies in and labeled them. They disappeared. I watched and smirked after one guy kept running into the bathroom. I had dumped an entire thing of chocolate-flavored Miralax into the batter. He tried turning me in. He was told maybe he shouldn't have stole my food. Same guy saw me put something into my back pocket a few days later and start for the bathroom. He grabbed it out holding it up and said for all to hear that I'd get it back after I apologized. Another guy saw him holding my pad above his head and punched him in the back of the head. And told him what insane man messes with a chick on her period. He quit soon after. The punching sounds like an HR nightmare, but I hope he got away with it tbh. What a jerk. It's a little sweetener, tastes exactly like sugar, but your guts need some practice to get used to it. If one's guts don't get the practice first any more than a teaspoon, and you get some diarrhea and gas for a few hours. Inulin fiber supplements are a flavorless soluble fiber that dissolves completely in liquid without thickening it. Entirely a safe food product that will cause awful farts in the inexperienced. Unmodified potato starch is a resistant starch that is like the last two extremely good for gut health and will cause the smelliest farts imaginable in those not used to it. I put a tablespoon each of all of these in my morning smoothie every day. If anyone but me drinks it and I can prove it's completely non-toxic by chugging the whole thing and not getting the farts or the shits. Plausible deniability. Edit for a commenter who says they're seriously allergic to chicory, which is where most commercial inulin supplements come from. I'd think that people with food allergies would know better than to steal food. Don't prank people with this stuff, let them do it themselves. I am a food engineer and I approve this message. Where should I bring my turkey for a tune-up? It might need an oil change. Had a guy stealing my lunch on the regular. Job wouldn't do anything about it so I stopped bringing in a lunch and made sure to throw his in the trash every day. I was able to leave for lunch he wasn't. This here is a genuine genius level move, the fact that he wasn't able to leave to get replacement food is the perfect karma. I'd imagine he'd just steal someone else's lunch. GRR. This is marvelous. I hope wearing white to my wedding was with it. My husband and I got married recently and one of the friends his mother invited showed up in a white dress, white shawl, white clutch and white shoes. The shawl, clutch and shoes on their own wouldn't bother me, but the pairing with a white dress is where I draw the line. Apparently societal norms and my bridesmaids confronting her weren't enough to convince her to wear my bridesmaid provided blue shawl all night, so I had to go up to her in front of my new mill, who was indulging her this is ridiculous request attitude, and tell her to leave it on. My husband was right by my side when I politely, but firmly, told her to leave it on. It's Dusty Rose, she said, not white. You know me, I'd never try to upstage you. You're my mill's friend, girl. I don't know you, also I looked good, no one really had a shot at upstaging me. And if you have to split hairs like that it was white, you probably still shouldn't wear it. This is my third time wearing this to a wedding and no one has said anything. Maybe not to your face, but I've had 4 separate people come up to me and offer to spill red wine on you. I thought the matter was settled after I, the bride, told her to leave the blue shawl on. Well, we got the pictures back this week. Later in the night, after I talked to her, she took the shawl off. This dress was white. The petty revenge. I cropped her out, blurred her out of the background, my phone's erase tool is surprisingly good, and deleted any picture where she was a focal point, like Candid's, before sharing the album. The cut removed photos included the Mills friend group picture, where this woman had the shawl off. The only group picture they had taken that night. I'm waiting for someone to ask, oh no, did your photographer not have any pictures of her? Where's our group picture? My Mill is one who would ask that, I have prepared my best Lady Elena impression. It was me. Don't wear white to weddings because brides are petty enough to painstakingly go through and edit 900 photos to make sure you're not in any of them. Those 4 separate people needed to gang up that day to make it truly, not Dusty, but Rose indeed. It was strongly considered if she were from my side, she would have been wearing wine that night. But, I didn't want to start my marriage off by making my Mill mad at her son. I was hoping my stern discussion was enough, but here we are. I hope your hubby doesn't spend your whole marriage unwilling to go to bat for you like this. If someone had worn a white dress to our wedding, I wouldn't have even asked for confirmation. That shit would be burgundy inside of 10 minutes, I don't care how fucking long you've known my mom. Nobody steps on my wife like that. Nah, she said Dusty Rose, so let's make it Rose. I would go one step further if they indeed ask why your Mills friend was not included in photos, I would say sorry, I must have sent the edited ones, I'll send the masters and send the original photos. Except the dress is edited to be the shittiest color possible. Think pea green. I love this writing it down. You do realize this was probably your Mills doing? Yeah, she absolutely contributed. My husband and I had a talk about this. Mill knew I was firm on my boundary, saw this friend before the ceremony and could have said something and also fueled her and said it wasn't fair of the bridesmaids to make that request. It's a bigger issue I have and we're setting firm boundaries with Mill. My friend had a friend ready with a little water gun full of red wine at his wedding waiting by the door. Apparently someone tried coming in, got a warning shot and left before anything started. I wish I'd been there to see it. I'm a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding this month and she has someone who might wear white on her husband's side too. I just might have to take this idea. Oh, this video has come to an end. If you want more such cool stories, then go to one of the many following videos.